Well, since launching in 2012, Makers has highlighted hundreds of incredible women in hopes of accelerating the women's movement by sharing their amazing stories. But what unique attributes do all these inspiring women share? Well, Lilliana Vazquez is here with more. Hey, Lilliana.
Hi, Jackie. It's so good to see you. Well, kind of see you through Zoom.
Kind of, right? So tell us, for those who don't know, what this podcast is about.
Oh, okay. So a DNA of a Maker is about a year in the making. And this is all about getting to the bottom of what makes incredible leaders leaders. Are you born an activist? Are you born someone who's a natural born leader? Or are those traits that you learn along the way? We wanted to get to the bottom of it, and we wanted to get to the bottom of it with an incredible group of inspiring women. So I got to sit down with Gretchen Carlson and Kimberly Crenshaw and Tarana Burke, of all people, and get to have these one-on-one intimate conversations about what makes these women who they are.
You know, now seems like a great time to dig into something like this because a lot of folks are dealing with so much stress.
It is. And, I think what people really will learn from this is that most of what we learn and who we are is shaped by our experiences and our communities. And let's talk about racism for a second, right? Because it's something that we get into in our first episode with Kimberly Crenshaw. People are not born racist. So if you've made comments in the past that, are racist, or you've participated in racism, whether passively or proactively, you have the power and the ability to change that for yourself. We are evolving constantly. And sometimes we need to ask ourselves hard questions and look at that evolution and say, am I doing enough? Can I do more? And how do I do better? And this is the perfect time to re-examine all of those actions and just be better in the future.
Yeah, you kick off the podcast with Kimberly Crenshaw. Give us a little bit more about what she talked about. What did she share?
So Kimberly Crenshaw basically created the term intersectionality. And, part of me at first, I was really embarrassed to say that I didn't know what that meant until I started doing my research for Kimberly. But the conversation that I had with Kimberly that really got me, and our conversation happened months ago before Black Lives Matter, this happened before the pandemic, was about privilege. And it's something that has always been really important to me because I'm aware of my own privilege. I am half Mexican and half Puerto Rican, but I also know that I am a light-skinned Mexican and Puerto Rican woman. And my cousins who aren't have been discriminated against because they aren't.
Yeah.
And, when I think about privilege, it's about being aware that what you have may not be equally accessible to everybody else. And it's about acknowledging what those privileges are, and most importantly, not being fearful or defensive about where those advantages have gotten you.
Aside from Kimberly Crenshaw, anything else, from this series that really stood out to you or really stuck with you?
Yeah, I think for me, Tarana's conversation was incredibly powerful. And the way she talked about what our perceived weaknesses in ourselves can actually be our strengths. And when she said it, it made me immediately realize that all of the women actually all said that to me in their own way. I will say the one thing that I think all of these women have, and that I think we all need to bring to the table in everything that we do, is just this incredible capacity for empathy. The way they speak, there's no confrontation there. It's really being so empathic in your actions and in your speech and in your communication. And I'm amazed to know what that does for having these conversations and how it really drives these conversations.
Well, I want to let everybody know that you can listen to DNA of a Maker on Apple Podcasts or follow Lilliana on social media. Lilliana, it's so good to see you, and thank you.
Oh, Jackie, thank you so much. I miss you. I can't wait to see you again.
I know. I cannot wait for a real face-to-face.
Exactly.